I have a question about the emotional guidance system. So I just changed professions, and I just went from being a professional photographer to being a photography teacher. And I thought teaching would be cake, and it's not. It's really hard. And I felt like when I took the position that I was like someone had me by my collar and was dragging me and saying, yeah, you have to do this. And I was like, do I? And then I was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, it's going to be great, because I looked at all the days off. And now I know why teachers have so many days off.
So what part of that story was downstream? The dragging by the collar part?
Well, I feel like dragging by the collar maybe is like I have some sort of resistance, but no, it was a pull. Like my inner being was beckoning to me and doing that, come. And I was like, okay. And I listened to that inner being. And
when you are being called towards something that you want, the calling feels exhilarating. In other words, it's a feeling that is so high and good feeling. Esther had something like that sweep over her recently, where she just felt compelled to call someone and to make a meeting with this person. And she followed through with it, and this person agreed to this meeting, and it was a very delightful interchange. But after it was over, Esther wondered, as you were describing, if she had misunderstood that sensation, because it didn't play out as she had sort of thought in her mind it might, but the feeling was so strong. And we explained to her that she has not yet seen the results of that. In other words, Jerry and Esther were talking yesterday about the powerful impulse that they felt to move to San Antonio. And they had no idea how many aspects of being there would dovetail into many things that they liked. In other words, they did not realize how much that they had already put in their vibrational escrow would be realized once they were there. They didn't know about all of the lovely people that they would be rendezvousing with, that now when they think about it, they think, yes, that was surely part of the calling. They hadn't even thought about how it was central to the nation and how important that would be, because they were not even thinking about moving about like that. And the gifts of that environment just keep coming and coming and coming and coming to them. Gifts that they could not see even on the day they moved there. It just keeps revealing over and over through the years what a good decision it was. And so what we're saying to you is, if you are really feeling some sort of passionate draw towards something, we always encourage you to follow it. And don't scrutinize the situation. Don't try to examine it for its content so readily. Stand back in an attitude of knowing that if it felt like this, it's good in many reasons. And then just ask that the universe reveal to you, when the timing is right, all of the reasons that it felt so good. And in that softer feeling about it, you'll be more in a state of allowing, and you will reap more of the benefits. We would also like to say to you that in most situations where you have choices to make, because the universe is yielding all of the choices to you, and they're all coming in response to your current vibrational offering, all of the choices that are coming to your current vibrational offering are pretty much the same. Because everything comes in response to what you're offering vibrationally. So if several things appear, then one of them is not a whole lot better than another, because they've all come in response to where your vibration is. And if you will choose among them in whatever way you do, and then make a decision to line up with whatever decision you made, so that you don't make the decision-making process split your energy, and then give it your all in terms of the way you talk about it, you will discover what the true gifts of that inspiration were about. So you felt that impulse, that inspiration to teach. And then you discover that there are aspects of it that you don't like so much. But there are many, many, many more aspects of it that are a vibrational match to all of the things that you've put into your vibrational escrow. That if you will take the time to focus upon them and let them dominate your vibrational patterning, then more and more of them will reveal themselves to you. In every person person you interact with and in every environment in which you interact. There are always those things that match what you want, and there are those things that don't match what you want. There are those things that match who you really are and those things that don't match who you really are. And there are those things that match who you currently are. Almost no one has such a pure vibration that they are only offering a vibration that is only about what they want. You almost always have some mixture in your vibration, and especially as you're sort of new at this. And so don't be upset if you attract something that has things that you want and things that you don't want, because it's sort of like the world in general. You don't go to a buffet and stand there for an hour telling them all the reasons that stuff you don't eat shouldn't be there. You just pick from it what you want to eat, and we would encourage that you do that in every environment. And as you do, you're going to confirm for yourself why then it felt like the right thing to do. And you're also going to show yourself that the fun is in the gap, that you're not done. You can't get it wrong, and you never get it done. And the reason that it isn't ever wrong is because it isn't ever done. As you're standing there in a place that by your estimation isn't perfect, still there's plenty for you to revel in, there's plenty for you to appreciate, and there's plenty that matches who you really are. And as you tune yourself to those things so that you are a vibrational match to things that mostly feel good, the things that don't feel so good must leave your experience and be replaced by more and more things that do feel good.
So focus on the lovely children. Is that what I'm doing?
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
There is that.
Teachers are underpaid. Okay, so because I had it was an interesting experience because I felt joyous about receiving the job. And then, I got it, and then I started, and I had all these really intense emotions, so I know my guidance is working. They were like, I cried a lot and stuff. So basically, just give it some time and focus on the things, and then it will reveal itself.
Tell us about the lovely children.
Lovely children. I'm sorry, parents, but some children are quite annoying. But on the whole, I try and have fun with them because I don't really take things too seriously. I want to provide an experience for them that doesn't hinder them, but creates an opportunity for them to be inspired. I don't want to be like, you have to take this test and this test and this test. And then and you have to do this, this, and this. I want it to be more open for them, and I think that way...
Give us a little more about that.
Well, there's some, I'm teaching digital and darkroom, and my Photo 2 students are like, are we going to do darkroom? I'm like, no, it's digital. And so they're really disappointed because they love the whole process of black and white photography and being in the darkroom. And then I felt because, I had to teach them just digital. And, I think that kind of hinders them a little bit. I'm thinking of a way that I can incorporate it so they're not going to be so crabby to me.
So you're looking for a way to look within the context of that one subject to amplify the positive aspects in order to call them downstream.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we're encouraging you to do in the context of your greater environment. And do you think it's possible that since you can't teach what you don't know, and since you want to understand alignment and deliberate creation, that you've put yourself in a situation where these kids are going to draw forth from you an understanding?
Yeah.
Do you think that's in your vibrational escrow?
Yeah, I think it's a give and take.
You think you made the right decision or the wrong decision?
I think I made the right decision, just right now it seems a little hard.
Well, we understand that sometimes you think you're looking for a feathered nest, but what we've known about you and about so many of you is that the environments that cause you to have to focus always give you the biggest payoffs when you do. And none of you came forth limply saying, oh, just get everything all cleaned up, and when it's all just hunky-dory, then I'll come forth and I'll observe it, and in my observation of lovely things, I'll just feel lovely, and then more lovely things will come. Not one of you said that. All of you said, give me some contrast that causes me to expand, and I'll use my guidance to guide my expansion. And the expansion will be so sweet because I'm always enjoying my meals better when I'm a little hungry, and I always enjoy my feeling relief when I felt a little tension. And the key to all of this is just not let the gap get so big that it is unmanageable and you can't find your way. So sometimes you think when you begin doing this deliberate creative work, it's a little bit like some people who are looking for a relationship, and they're really asking for something that we find funny in the sense that it is not a possible thing to do. They sort of say, from where I stand, I want to find the partner who will be perfect for me forever and ever and evermore. Not factoring in how many changes that they will be making. And so to ask one person to come and be an eternal vibrational match to the continually evolving being that they are becoming, it's just really something that you shouldn't even ask for. What you should say is, I would like to do my best to come into alignment with who I am from where I am and attract a partner, an occupation, we're using the partner as an example, that matches me, and of course I will if I've come into vibrational alignment with it. And then from that new platform, new contrast will cause me to continue to expand. So my work is just that constant work of doing my work of coming into alignment with who I am, and then everything in the periphery of my life experience has to come into vibrational alignment with that. So it is so delicious when you say, I understand that I wasn't looking for the final working place. You'd wither and die immediately. I was looking for something that would ring my bells. I was looking for something that would stir my juices. I was looking for an environment that would remind me who I am, and nothing will remind you who you are more than the lovely little children. Even when you feel sarcastic about the lovely little children that you are speaking about. In other words, they are freedom seekers. They still remember who they are. They still expect things to turn out the way they want them to be, and they are incredibly bummed out when they don't. And that's the way we want you to be too. We want you to get in there with them and let them teach you while you teach them, because they will help you to remember. You're not so far from remembering that. That's what makes you a particularly good teacher. They'll be able to teach you easily.
Good.
And when you come into vibrational alignment with who you are, life's going to be really good for all of you. You're going to have a good time in this environment. Wonderful time. And not so far from now, you would not ask the question that you asked when you sat down. In other words, you didn't misunderstand your guidance and get yourself into the wrong place. This is exactly the place that it was waiting for you in vibrational escrow. And the gifts are many to be revealed to you.
You know, when you say, I heard this in a few places where you say, it's coming, just know it's coming. And then I heard it said, when you say it's coming, it'll always be in a state of it's coming and not quite get there. Is that just semantics? It's a matter of how you're really feeling?
Well, what we mean is it's coming, but once it has come, your desire for something else will replace it. So you'll always be in a state of becoming.
Okay.
In other words, you never get it done.
Okay.
With everything that you allow to manifest in your experience, you also dawn a new perspective from which to evaluate contrast and from which to put more things in your vibrational escrow. And that's why we are so eager to get you to the place where you are willing to make peace with where you are, because you're always going to be in a place that is just less than what you've already become. And when you make peace with that, then you begin to enjoy the exhilarating ride on the river. As Jerry and Esther went whitewater rafting, the river guide said to them, this isn't Disneyland, folks. We cannot turn this river off. And we want to say the same thing to you. We cannot turn this river off. Can you imagine if Jerry and Esther had said to him, where will we take our boat out? And he would say, way downstream. And Jerry and Esther would say, well, we like instant manifestation, so we want to put our boat back on the bus and drive it down the canyon and put it in the water just ahead of where we're going to take it out, because we like instant manifestation. And he would have obliged them. He was a very nice man. But he would have said, I thought you wanted a ride on the river. And this is the thing that we want to say to you. You want this ride on the river. You want to be inspired to a new idea that you're not quite up to speed with. And you want to figure out how to get up to speed with it. And you want to feel it clicking into place. And then you want the exhilarating experience of seeing the universe respond to your new aligned position. And you want to experience the clues along the way as a manifestation takes shape and form and reveals itself to you in compliance with your alignment. And you want to enjoy that newfound place of manifestation, and you want it to express into a larger contrasting experience, and you want to give birth to yet another rocket of desire. And you want to not be vibrationally up to speed with it at first. And you want to acknowledge through the feeling in your belly that you're not up to speed. And then you want to deliberately turn downstream. And you want to be proud of yourself because you know you turned downstream. And you've got your hands in the clay and you're deliberately creating. And you want to feel yourself coming into alignment.